For the month of July, to celebrate 250 years of freedom, get 3 months of unlimited jiu-jitsu, plus your choice of a free gi or no gi set for just $250. This July, as we celebrate 250 years of freedom, invest in something that lasts. Build strength. Build confidence. Build lifelong friendships. Build faith. Build something that can't be bought, only earned. At the Rock Jiu-Jitsu team, real growth happens on the mat and carries into every part of life. Experience life-changing, rock-solid jiu-jitsu in a faith-first, family-friendly environment. Don't just celebrate freedom. Build the kind of life that's worth fighting for. Happy 250th Independence Day. God bless our community, God bless Colorado, and God bless the USA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode 105 today. We just now finished an epic weekend celebrating 250 years of freedom. The 250th birthday of America, 4th of July, was just this past Saturday. And boy, what a day it was. Celebrations all over the country, and it looks like everybody had a good time. Statistically, we know that at least a couple people out there probably lost a couple fingers, so our hearts go out to you if that's you in that category. But man, I consider myself, I was thinking through the weekend, I'm thankful, regardless of anything and everything that's been difficult and all the tough conversations going on in the conversation right now in the country right now. I'm just thankful. I'm thankful to still be part of something, born into a country that still represents freedom.
Amen. Agreed.
I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for all the first responders, troops, everybody out there that has fought for our freedom, those who have died for our freedom, and those who continue to be a voice for the freedoms that we enjoy in America. And I pulled up a couple clips just to kind of recap some of the most epic celebrations. But what did you do on Saturday?
I chilled. I got to talk to, indirectly, I have to say it this way, I got to talk to my little girl, and we found out they turned their boat around and they're coming home.
Amen.
So this was a celebration for multiple reasons for me. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, the Tripoli is officially headed back to Japan out of Iran. So that kind of made my weekend. Chilled at the pool with some friends, hung out, did some things, had an epic Sunday service at church, and just all the good stuff. But it was very patriotic. I mean, despite the lack of fireworks, I could care less about that, though. I don't want to see my state on fire so that we can have more. But I watched some really cool ones online, and I think you got one pulled up that I watched.
Oh, yeah. I got a couple.
That was amazing, dude.
I got a couple. But there weren't fireworks in your neighborhood?
Well, we did have some emergent response come over, and yeah, cops showed up a block over, and then the fire department showed up and pulled out the hose and sprayed it out. It wasn't a fire. They just sprayed all the fireworks, and then I think a guy got a really hefty fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there was lots of fireworks going off in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were able to just sit in our backyard and watch, and it was a show, and it was a relaxing evening. Because we had an incredible morning. The day was filled with all kind of fun stuff. We did open mat, of course, in the beginning of the day, and then at 12 we did a crawfish boil right here, and it was a great turnout. People had a good time, and we ate a bunch of bugs, so that was cool. That was fun. It was a really, really well spent day.
Good.
It was a good day, and then being able to relax in the evening and just spend some time with my wife and be outside and watch the neighbors break the law was that was a great way to end it out.
Yeah,
so.
I did learn from one of my neighbors, the cops can write you a ticket, but if the fire department breaks the hose, the story he told me is it's a $10,000 fine.
Wow.
If they gotta pull the hose off the truck and spray water. So
ouch.
Yep. But it'll be a firework or a 4th of July worth remembering.
There you
You
go.
frame that ticket.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. And here we are at some of the coolest celebrations. One of them actually was a drone show.
Mm-hmm.
A drone show. And it's wild what they're able to do with these drones, man.
Yeah.
This drone show that happened in North Richland Hills, Texas, it's crazy. I just have a little bit of a clip that's saved right here showing. I mean, look at that detail. Look at the eagle flying in the sky. Look at the rocket ship. And then look at that Uncle Sam right there.
That one was the one that blew my mind.
Astronauts. Dude, it's amazing what they're able to do with these drones. Absolutely spectacular. Pretty crazy.
It is. That is something I'd actually like to see live.
Yeah.
Like that was.
So we saw one. Actually, we've seen about 2 or 3. They've done 1 or 2 here locally in Castle Rock in lieu of fireworks before.
Right.
They obviously weren't to this scale, but they were still pretty cool.
How many do you think are in that? If you had to,
The reports are saying there were 2,500.
yeah, that makes
2,500
sense.
drones. Yeah.
That they can link together and choreograph. That's just people are cool. People are smart. I mean, they really are. That's
People are cool. People are smart. Yes. And then you've got the opposite side of things where it's some good old fashioned fire powder. The world record was just broken with 850,000 munitions set off in the America 250 fireworks show. Now the largest ever.
850,000.
Literally just looks like an explosion in the sky. Look at this.
Yeah, it looks like something over you'd see over the Middle Eastern war. That's so cool.
It is awesome.
Did you see the dude holding the barrel cannon that he had made out of? I think it was like a whiskey barrel, and he had loaded it, filled with bottle rockets.
No.
And they lit them all off. He and a buddy held it like on a board, and they held it together. I didn't read the number, but it had to have been thousands.
Wow.
And they all just started, and these guys were just eating it the whole time. But it was epically cool because they were shooting it out of their own homemade barrel, redneck style, the kind we would have done in Kentucky where I was growing up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw one where the guy cut the end of an old baseball bat and he was using it to launch mortars off. And I was just thinking,
cool.
man, if that thing blows up in that baseball bat, there's going to be a hospital visit for sure. Shrapnel's going everywhere.
Splinters galore.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the patriotism. I really do. I love this. What other country can you do this in?
Well, not in Colorado.
Fair enough. Colorado's going to become its own country anyway, so that actually is more accurate than.
I will say this year I have been a more unwilling participant in fireworks. I've been more willing to comply with the fire ban restriction this year than any other year that I can remember, just because of all the fires going on. You know, it has, I think, added a lot of reality to approaching this, that, you know, we're in a really dry season and it's a drought and we don't want to start another fire and be that guy. So I think there was a lot of people who observed 4th of July here more responsibly than probably they have in many years past.
So on that point, let's see if your memory serves you or not. See if you recall this. So there was a dude that was complaining. He's like, I can't believe we have a professional fire department. Well, these guys don't know how to put out a little grass fire, you know, on a professional display. So like if they lit it off, like, why don't we have this in downtown Castle Rock? We have the equipment. We should be able to do it. It's not like the fire department's going to have a fire. And then somebody came online and said, hey, do you remember when Crystal Valley burned down? So do you remember when Crystal Valley burned down?
That would have been before my time.
No, you were well into life at that point. So right here on this butte, the show was on the other side. This was before all of the houses were here. There were some. They shot them off up top in this field where your business sits right now. It burned all the way up the hillside.
Huh.
Probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. We were sitting here watching it. And then all of a sudden you started seeing this orange glow, and then you hear sirens. So
Wow.
the fire department was at a display, and it ended up landing somewhere over in this field, and the wind was blowing back up the hillside, and it took out several. I think it was like a couple hundred acres.
That kind of makes sense because the wind here is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
here in Crystal Valley, the wind, I mean, it's hard to keep things put together outside with the coffee shop tables and umbrellas and all that stuff. Stuff just blows and it just gets blown to smithereens.
Yeah, we had to exfil. They literally came over and said, "Get in your cars and go," because it was coming up. the
Wow.
hillside. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was before I lived here, at least. Let's see. I would have still been living in Happy Canyon.
I'm guesstimating, but I'm thinking it was probably 12, 13 years. We'd look it up. Look up the Crystal Valley. Fireworks fire. But yeah.
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
That is crazy. It makes me
Little Castle Rock history for you.
makes me feel like I need to be even more responsible because
Living proof that the fire department can start and put out their own fires, though. So good on them.
the fire department was the one that was doing
They're
the fireworks.
They're the ones that set them off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So they had trucks stationed and whatnot, and it landed in such an area. I guess this terrain was really rough, so they had a hard time getting back to it initially. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yep.
Man. Well, what do you think about designated fireworks zones in Colorado? Solve some of our issues.
That could, yeah, could see that.
On 4th of July, be able to have a couple places that have been mapped out, designated. There's already Overwatch with firefighter support, whatever.
Yeah.
And be able to let people go and celebrate freedom safely.
Oh, you mean like the individual gets to come down?
Yeah.
Oh, that would actually be very cool. I see what you're saying.
I mean, people can argue that it would go super wrong, and I guess that it could. Like, there could be idiots that ruin it for everybody, but that's just life. That's everything.
Yeah.
But if you had a couple designated zones where there was already a fire department on call, ready, and there was just a couple places you guys could go and just set them off safely. But I don't know, man. I almost don't like that even more because that feels a little bit even more restricted. Feels a little bit more I don't know. Like they're taking our freedom and putting it in a box here.
Yeah, back before they legislated everything when we were kids, we used to just shoot Roman candles at each other.
Yeah.
Like we used to have Roman candle wars.
Yeah, it's the funnest thing ever.
You get 6 guys, put them out in a circle.
Bottle rockets.
And whoever bowed out first during the Roman candle war. It'd be kind of. There's a paintball place up in Parker. Have you seen it? The new one. That'd be kind of cool to do that there.
Yeah.
Roman candle wars inside the paintball field, shooting at each other. Yeah. We were dumb when we were kids. We you don't know what you don't know. I mean, we were 8, 9, 10. In Michigan at the time, I mean, you could go into a grocery store and buy M100s.
Yeah.
In a grocery store.
I think that's the way it should
in
be.
the packages. I mean, like you could just $10, you come home and dude, those things would shred mailboxes. Like we had many very angry neighbors with us on 4th of July, and a couple kids took a little bit of a beat down a couple times rightfully so, from parents that were angry. But yeah, we used to blow up a lot of stuff. You just go to the grocery store and just buy M100s and just see what you could blow up.
To me, that just seems like the American way of growing up.
It worked. I've got all my digits. I'm still here. But yeah, we got back in the day. We were dumb, fun with it.
Well, nothing like a good dose of good old school American fun.
Dude, you ever set off an M100?
Oh yeah,
that's like.
Here's the thing, okay? All right, listen. We would go to other states almost regularly for 4th of July. We'd be in Mississippi. We'd just be other places, but even so, it wouldn't really stop us from having fireworks here. Friends, family, whatever. We would have fireworks here, and we would still celebrate. I'm not confessing to anything online and anybody listening.
It's too many years ago. Statute of limitations are gone.
I'm not afraid to say that I think it's better to obey God than man.
Yeah. And God would like fireworks. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I think that He gave us the same excitement, that exuberance, that desire to see it go off and see something spectacular. Yes,
free will.
I do think that was something that we are an image of our Creator in that sense. But
so we took this is a real quick story. So you remember the old Pinewood Derby cars? You ever seen those?
Yeah,
Boy Scouts. So all the kids in my neighborhood were Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever, for a season or two in life. When 4th of July rolled around, one of the cool dads in the neighborhood had a soapbox derby track, and we all put M80s or M100s inside the cars with a longer wick, and we'd send them down the track.
Nice.
And then the cars would blow up. So we'd put the car together to blow the car up later, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was just so much fun. And it was just, I mean, you know how you knew it was cool? The whole neighborhood would gather around to watch it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 2 cars would race at a time. You'd see whose fuse went faster. And I mean, it would just shrapnel the cars, stuff would go everywhere. But that was what it was like growing up back in the mid to late 70s. I mean, we just had fun.
No more fun.
No more fun. There'll be no fun. And no joy.
More fun. Oh, well, here's the thing. There's so much that's being discussed right now in our country. There's a lot that's going on. And I think probably at the center of conversation right now is the ongoing trial for the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
So you and I had talked a little bit over the weekend about Candace Owens going on Sean Ryan's podcast.
Yep.
And, man, that was a long podcast.
Dude, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And I think there's a part 2.
Really?
I do. I don't think they've released it yet because they went in, just so you know, I caught a clip, and I don't know whether it was supposed to be. I don't know if it was a teaser from Ryan. I didn't take it that way. I think it somebody else saw it that has a subscription and started to post it, and then it was taken down. But they whiteboard on 3 different whiteboards the whole thing that she has.
Wow.
That's the piece I was hoping. Like I watched the whole thing thinking I was going to see that. So I think there is a part 2 to it. I think they must have been together like 5 or 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that 3 hours that you watch, it was good. I mean, it was a lot in there. But I want to see the next part with the whiteboard. I want to see all that they brought together. And it's not online. I don't know if you have to subscribe physically to his channel to get it or how that works. But I saw at least 2 different short clips where somebody had thrown up. There was a whiteboard session between the 2 of them on it. I hope I have that right. It's the whiteboards are in the background of them.
I don't know. I didn't see anything like that.
Yeah.
But I watched most of it. Some of it I kind of skimmed through and was trying to rush through it a little bit. I didn't honestly have the time available in the day whenever you sent it and said to listen from this moment.
It was
I
right at the
listened to
2 hour.
majority
About
of
the
it.
2 hour mark for about 10 minutes was very telling.
I listened to a lot of it. It's still hard, man. I'm so split and torn between the narratives that are being spun out there.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I think that this trial is going to hopefully tell us a lot as far as what's true, what's not true. And I'm sure that there will still be some narratives out there that are worth questioning. But hopefully the trial, as it continues, will give some answers. And there'll be a little bit of a settling to where it's not just tons and tons of conspiracies all over the place. Because, man, does that get exhausting.
Yeah, it does.
All of the theories that are being spun up, I don't think that there's a definitive conclusion. And I don't think that even Candace has said that she's drawn any definitive conclusion. She just has said all of these different possibilities. And the only conclusion that I remember her specifically stating that she has drawn is that Tyler Robinson did not kill Charlie. That's what she thinks. That's what she believes.
Yeah.
What do I believe? I don't know yet. I'm still watching this thing unfold in real time.
Right.
And I'm still trying to figure it all out.
Well, this is the prelim, right? It's not the actual trial.
I think this is the trial. It's the start of the public trial. From what
I should double check. I thought it was the prelim because I thought this was just the cursory prelim trial to determine if there was enough evidentiary value to move forth with the actual trial.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. We should double check that, but I believe that's the case. That's not uncommon in cases like this. Because there's not I don't think there's a jury pool or any of that stuff that's been drawn. I've not watched a second of it, so I mean, technically I'm speaking into it ignorantly, but usually there's a prelim that is done to substantiate evidentiary value.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, there's going to be a trial. It's going to go forth. It's just part of the process.
Well, after listening to that episode with Candace and being able to catch up with a lot of the questions that she's continued to ask and the potential weight that may be in any of her claims, what is your thoughts? What are you thinking right now?
Well, the one thing that people are saying Candace, and they really shouldn't be watching. I'll walk that backwards. Watch Candace all you want, but Candace is not the one coming up with this theory. People need to be watching John Bray. Do you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
So John Bray, if you pull up, it's Trigger Something. The guy's got a podcast, Trigger Something, He's got John Bray on it. It's about a 2-hour session. John is the guy who's done legwork from minute one on the what they're calling the exploding mic theory. But this guy's like I don't know if he's a physicist, a scientist, or what he is, but I know he owns a company. He's like a third generation dude that his family has created this process that they go in for military and they clean all of their equipment for particles and leads and different things. So like when they go into combat, it's not like you just throw your level 4 on, go into combat, come back, and just keep going into combat. Like this stuff has to be scrubbed down. There's toxins and different things that get on it. So they've got this company, and they're very, very well known. It's a big deal. And he is, I believe, he's either a physicist or he's working in a physicist capacity of some degree. And he's developing battery technology. He's developing a lot of different things. Well, he also works extensively with PETN, PETN, C4, and he has an exceptional 2-hour breakdown on this podcast on this Trigger podcast, where he's yielding questions from everybody essentially. And it is very, very good. It is far and away the most plausible answer I've seen yet to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I will say this. I'll say it before this trial, before anything begins. I think that he, from my standpoint, from my tactics, my training, and talking to at least 3 EOD guys now with more than a quarter century of experience each, so 75 years combined, all unequivocally agree with this guy. That the exploding mic is what killed Charlie. And they've got it all the way down to not just the mic, they've got it down to frames per second, to where they believe with clarity now that the wound that you see on Charlie's neck is actually the battery falling. It comes out of the neck. Like if you slow it down enough, you actually see it. So it's not an entrance wound, it's an exit wound. And it's the battery from the Rode mic. So his theory is this thing was loaded with PETN, which burns very clean, very fast, so it doesn't leave residue. You're not going to see charring. They give example after example after example of this stuff, and he shows it. That when the mic was supposed to go off, the whole point of the gunshot and the mic going off was that Charlie was supposed to be looked like he got shot in the chest. And he had his reasons of why you wouldn't actually physically shoot Charlie, but why they would go this route. But the device, Charlie moves his hands a lot, does stuff, and as he's moving it, the Rode mic is moving, and it does go into the chest, but the battery exits out his neck. It's a fascinating watch because it actually, and there's really nobody so far that I've seen that has been able to not only debunk it, most people that have questioned it have now gotten on board with it. They're saying, yeah, because he shows the kinetic energy, he shows the inertia, he shows the blowout of the sleeve, the back of the neck, how Charlie's hair raises. The second that he shot, you see his hair move, you see the shirt collar blow out. I mean, there's a lot of things that a bullet wouldn't have caused any of that, but an explosion would. It's pretty actually intense. It's pretty detailed. And I stick with it because about 4 minutes after Charlie was shot, the first thing that happened is I had gotten a phone call from somebody who said, "Did you see it?" And then he said, "What did you see?" And I said, "Well, obviously he was shot and he appeared to be paralyzed, died instantly." And then he had me watch the video again, and there's a reverberation that goes off the front of the shirt. That you and I have talked about that. I always had that in question. That always bothered me. I couldn't figure out why. I just don't know enough about that stuff until I saw John Bray's analysis of it. And I've dug in. And he's been on this thing from like minute one. He's not shifted gears at all. It's not like he's going, hey, this is just a conspiracy theory. He's actually put math to it, and he's broken it all down.
So I think the biggest question that I would have, if that is the truth, is how are they going to imitate and mimic a gunshot wound to the chest? Was that battery supposed to exit out of his back rather than his neck? Because how are you going to fake that you got shot in the chest and there's no blood, there's no entry wound, there's no exit wound, and this explosion supposedly happening in the chest and then shooting out of the neck? It seems like that would have been a really hard thing to fake, getting shot in the chest, if that was the goal. If the goal was just straight up just to assassinate him and then that's it. It's over. No questions. Just hide the evidence, hide the body. But I don't know how they would have expected that there wouldn't have been any blood visible from the chest cavity and going out of the back if he was getting shot in the chest, unless they were trying to frame an attempt. There was people that were saying that they thought that he had a vest on. I think that there's other people out there that have shown that no, he did not have a vest on. But I don't know if that would have been potentially one of the conspiracies. Maybe they wanted to make it look like he got shot at, like there was an assassination attempt,
right,
and it was unsuccessful. Because that's the thing that would make that doesn't make sense to me. If it was supposed to imitate like he got shot in the chest, there would have been an entry wound and an exit wound, and that would have been something that they would have had to have thought out thoroughly to the point of having some kind of a blood bag or having something included in this microphone contraption to where there's a front and a rear exit and entry and exit point.
Yeah, I would not do it justice. You're going to want to listen to his breakdown of this. The other thing that he has done through his expertise is he's removed all of the background sound. So the crowd noise, he's dialed everything down, and he says there's an undeniable supersonic shot. That's undeniable. Everybody heard it. The second thing that's undeniable that he says every camera, so he's got audio from multiple sources, that there's I think it's at 50, I think he said 58 megahertz. He says you hear this in the trigger explosion that comes from the chest, and you hear it from multiple sources. It's 100% undeniable. It's coming from all angles, and it's something that you can't fake megahertz. That's something that comes out. He goes, no, you wouldn't hear it on audio. You wouldn't hear it in the crowd. Nobody would have heard any of that. He goes, but when you remove all of the background noise, all the white noise, there's three distinct measurements of sound that are crystal clear. And he does a very, very good job explaining this. So I would encourage people to go there. Don't listen to me. I mean, that's not my theory from the very beginning when I saw the video is that something happened to his chest. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even necessarily go to the road mic, because when I saw the video, all I could see is the thing was still attached. What I did not know at the time, and this didn't make any sense to me when I first heard it, and actually you and I can speak to this, that they put the road mic on the inside of his shirt and the magnet and the clasp was on the outside. I always thought I was just looking at the road mic. We were actually looking at the backing where the magnet holds it to the shirt, but they put it on the inside. So why, with moving around and all the noise that would capture and make up against the skin, and sort of like, why would you do that? And John's argument is that the shape charge, you would have to have it on the inside and be able to, for trajectory. So I can't answer your question, but he does answer your question. That's why I would say people should go listen to it. In fact, it's out of everything every rabbit hole I've gone down, and I think I've gone down just about all of them, it's the only thing with that I look at that there's not only evidentiary value to. I think it goes beyond a theory, is you actually see the physics. Like he's broken this thing down, and you're seeing his shirt do things that would never happen for a gunshot. The only way it could happen is an explosion. Now, the why the gunshot and the explosion, that I can't answer. There's obviously more than one actor involved in this. The biggest thing that he questioned afterwards was when they went to the ground, they grabbed Charlie, they put him in the car, and then you watch the Candace episode, she's talking about all the little pieces of black plastic that are on the floorboard, or pieces of shards of glass, whatever that may be. John breaks that down and says that's the mic. Like that's what's left inside the shirt, because the shirt contained the explosion. And so when they go to work Charlie, whatever they're removing off, all that stuff is hitting the floor. And he's tested it. So he's bought road mics, he's taken them apart, he's tested the theory. I mean, he's put multiple tests together. And the specific model he had is, he's talking about that the perimeter around the road mic is the type of glass that you would have on your phone, where it would frag and it would shrapnel in the same vein. So it's a fascinating listen to, even if it's nothing more than a conspiracy theory. And I think it's way beyond that. I think it's actually what happened. people are still going to have questions as to the gunshot, the why behind it, and people can run wild on that. But he far and away does the best job I've seen yet at explaining this thing. And with his background, with his science, with his understanding of these powders and how they don't burn and how they don't, he actually they put powder on a piece of paper, PETN, PETN is what they call it. And it's used for a lot of applications, and they lit it on fire, and it didn't burn the paper at all. It just instantly is hot and it goes away, and it leaves no residue. So people are saying, if it was an explosion, why wouldn't you see char? That's why. C4 burns a little less clean, so you probably would see a little char, but PETN is about as pure as it gets.
Yeah, this is all just fascinating to me. I don't know, man. I don't know that I buy it because I just don't know where in the world an explosion like that could be hidden. Also, why would there be no blood in the chest area?
Well, because
if it's hot enough to cauterize it, maybe right off the bat, I guess. But still, so would they be saying that was shrapnel that went into the neck, or was that potentially supposed to be a bullet that was directed somewhere else? Well, some type of a projectile inside of this microphone that was deliberately supposed to cause an entry and exit wound that was supposed to look like a gunshot wound. That would be the only way that it would kind of start walking its way toward making any type of sense, is if that was the case. Somehow they contrapted this device. They set it up to where it would explode and shoot a projectile to mimic a gunshot. Because if it's just an explosion, I mean, if that theory holds any weight, he's wearing a white shirt. Like, where is any evidence of a bleed, of a wound, of anything under that white shirt? Because it would have been pretty visible, it seems like.
Well, there's again, it would be important for people, I think, to go look up John Bray on the Trigger podcast. Can't miss it. It's 2 hours. Start there, listen to it, draw your own conclusions. He explains all the questions you have. I mean, I would just be sitting here repeating the podcast, so I don't want to do that. When you do shape charges, one thing that I can say, when you do shape charges, they're directional. So it's not so much, there's as much of the energy going through the body on a shape charge as there is a physical piece of something that is designed to go into the body. The kinetic energy more than likely would blow the heart apart, stop the valves. One of the things that hit me that was it didn't hit me until a week ago when I rewatched this. So when I first saw it, you see copious amounts of blood come out.
Yeah.
But it's not an arterial pumping bleed. It's just a lot of blood came out, a lot. And then there's a flow that is happening. An arterial wound here, if your heart is pumping, you'd be squirting. If you watch the Richard Zednick NHL video, when the skate catches his neck, that blood shoots out about 15 feet across the ice. The amount of pressure. And he's upright, his heart is pumping, he puts his hand over it, and you can see blood squirting through his fingers as he's making his way over to the bench. And they get a towel on it. Unfortunately, they had a very competent doctor that knew he needed to get in there and clamp his artery. Charlie's heart instantly stopped, which is why there was no push of blood coming. There's the initial, and your artery is filled with blood, but there was no projectile of blood. So that right out of the gate, if the explosion happens on the chest and just instantly hits the heart valve and crushes it, you're not going to, the heart stops. Regardless of whether your brain is telling the heart to do something or not, the heart can't do anything. That would explain, from my medic understanding, why there would not be copious amounts of blood flowing. Also, a shape charge, depending on the size of what's in it, that could be a very, very tiny hole. You don't need a lot of anything to go through it. You just need the power to drive it. And that is where you got to get into the physics of it and whatnot. And again, he does a great job explaining it. And there's other people that do this stuff for a living. But this technology that he's talking about, this isn't some one-off thing. This is stuff that's been used for years and years and years. They put them. There was a huge deal. I think it was in Lebanon.
Yeah.
With pagers. and the radios and other things. So it's not so much a theory. There's a reality that this stuff lives out there. It's just does it connect back to this or not? And I think he does. Again, I just think he does the best job in explanation of every angle of this thing, to include sound, burn rate, what it would have done to the body cavity. I mean, he's gone down extensive study on this stuff and trial. So I think it's worth the listen. I don't look at it as I'm promoting a conspiracy theory. I look at it as it's actually something that's very plausible. But people have to draw their own conclusions.
No, I agree. And people, if they're interested, you should go listen to that John Bray Trigger podcast, whatever it's called. I've kept up with it a little bit. I haven't just totally deep dived, but I know about the pagers and all that. I know about the connections that they've made, and the mic theory is nothing new. It was something that came out probably like a week after Charlie's assassination.
Along with 40 other things, right?
I mean, all kinds of things. And I think that it's plausible, but here's the thing that holds me up further than the conversation we've already had is the amount of people that this would implicate is enormous. If it was truly a charge that was rigged to be a chest explosion and it just so happened to kind of went wrong, came out of the neck, or maybe it was exactly what they intended it to do. Maybe they wanted it to come out of the neck. I don't know if this is the truth.
Well, John, just so you know, John doesn't say that he thought the intent was it for it to come out the neck. He thinks that the battery was a byproduct that wasn't thought through, because you had to have a source for a remote detonate. The battery had to be in there. That's the only way that you could make the device live. His take, and he says, I'm 50-50 on my own theory on this. He goes, this is where I will theorize, is that I don't think that the battery was drawn into conclusion of what was going to happen. Like that the shape charge was sent to go a direction. I think the battery was not in the thought process, and the battery just ended up traveling just by sheer force and just happened to come out his neck. That was not by design. That was just by happenstance. So that, just to clarify that point, he doesn't say that they put this thing in there for it to shoot out his neck. He genuinely believes that was just an accident.
Wow. Well, here's the thing. If that was an accident, and the guys that are working Charlie, all those guys, if they did what they normally do, strip the shirt off,
right,
start trying to work him, they would have definitely seen a wound to the chest. There was an explosion.
There would be something there, yeah,
There'd be something there.
Yep.
And the shrapnel that you guys, that the people have called and made mention to, of plastics or whatever laying on the floorboard, any of that stuff. But then even whenever they get to the hospital, the examiners, everybody, the list is long as to who would have to be involved in going along with this.
It'd be
massive.
It would be a handful of people, for sure. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm not saying that people don't lie, but I'm just saying that's something that I think is going to require a decent amount of evidence to actually hold up, because that's going to implicate a lot of people, and it's going to change a lot of things, I think, if this is actually proven.
My gut, Jared, is I don't think his team knew anything. I mean, there's people out there that say there's probably a couple of people on the team involved in the hand signals, and there may be validity to that. I don't know. The one thing that is interesting, I watched, and we talked about this. We went into depth on this months and months ago when his head of security went on the Sean Ryan show. And I said, I believe every word that he said as far as the wound pack and the reaction. I think that guy had no idea. I still sit here and say, I don't think that guy had any idea that, regardless of how Charlie died, I believe that when he said, I'm packing that wound, he's fallen back on training. And if you have an arterial bleed, even if the heart isn't pumping, you're still going to have a copious amounts of blood. They're just going to be coming out. And so he's packing, he's pushing, he's packing, he's pushing. They're breaking intersections. But he also said in that interview with Sean Ryan, I'm still treating, but I knew in the first 10 seconds, however he phrased it, he goes, I knew Charlie was gone. He goes, but I didn't stop working him. So there would have to be a lot of people involved, but my take is I don't think the team per se, certainly not the director of security, was involved. I think he didn't have a lot of good answers on the police stuff and why they weren't there and why he went in. And I questioned all that from the beginning. I still question why they did it. But at the end of the day, how he talked about how they treated him specifically, physically, medically treated him, everything he said made sense. It's what you would do. You'd just be packing and overlap. There's a lot that I'm sure that will come out, and everybody's got their theories on it. I just go to, when you remove all the possibilities, all you're left with are facts. And if the possibility is that he didn't know anything, and he's there as direct security, he's doing his job, he thinks he's doing his job, everything's going the way it should be going, and all of a sudden bad happens, you're going to default back to your training. And your training is if you're bleeding out, you pack a wound. You're not thinking of anything else.
Yeah.
He's in that realm. He's in that world now.
Yeah.
And you know how hard it is to do CPR on a backseat of a car? It'd be impossible. So if they put Charlie on the floor and that stuff did explode, that would make sense why there's a lot of that junk all over the floor, and it was scattered all over the floor. Because if you're lifting up the shirt, you're looking for wounds, trying to seal a wound, you're doing CPR, trying to revive them. All of that, if you're doing CPR, then you're pushing blood out the neck, which would then make sense on why he was packing a wound, even if Charlie's heart wasn't working, because you're manually pushing blood through the body. So there's a lot of factors that would come into play that would make sense in the back of the car as to why they were treating Charlie, how they were treating Charlie, what they were doing. I still don't like the fact that the cops were there, that he didn't get the answer, and he blamed UVU, PD. That didn't make any sense to me at all. But whatever, that was a massive mistake and an oversight. But how they did it, yeah, it all makes sense.
I hope the truth comes out. I don't know that we'll ever see the truth on this. Hopefully that we do somehow. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to lose hope that something somehow will come to light and we'll be able to know and have a level of peace about it, because, man, this has got to be one of the single most continuously trending topics in the country, if not the world, is how Charlie Kirk was killed.
And there's a reason for that, bro, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Because
who he is.
Because who he is. And I said, I made a 15-minute video yesterday. I did not air. I was going to talk about some of this stuff. I think it's bigger than JFK. I think he had more impact than JFK. And at the end of the day, for various different reasons, plus culture, plus timeliness, plus social media, plus real time, plus everybody saw it, on and on and on. But I think the impact is bigger. The unsolved, which, you know, there's a handful of people that would have known, but they're probably all dead from JFK's time frame because too much time has passed. But there's a file somewhere where everybody knows. Somebody knows something. To your point, there would have to be a lot of people involved. There's a yes and no factor to that for me. The biggest thing that I struggle with in all this, there's never been an answer to, and I have theories, and I'm not going to say them on air right now. I've written them down. I do not believe for a second Tyler Robinson had a disassembled Mauser 98, walked up on a roof, assembled it, zeroed the rifle, took the shot, disassembled it, climbed off the roof, went down into a wood line, reassembled it, and walked away.
Yeah, I don't believe that either.
I don't believe that for a millisecond. Not for 1 second. And on top of it, they searched that wood line. They searched the wood line. There's video of cops everywhere. I mean, you would, by default, you practically would have tripped over the gun where the FBI went, oh, look, here's a gun. That is the one thing that it was garbage. And then Cash Patel coming out and going, well, we got this, we got the answer. Immediately, it was like within, it felt like within a day or two, I'd have to go back and pull the full timeline. Within a day or two, it was like they had their answer. And we're 10 months down the road and we don't have an autopsy result.
What boggles my mind is, if this is some great conspiracy, then why would they not try harder to have something that makes sense?
Well, because if you have something that makes no sense at all, it's what I said a second ago. If you remove all the possibilities, all you're left with is facts. But if you've presented to the world nothing but possibilities,
okay,
then you're just sitting out here going, this is why we have so many people, I think, not only intrigued on this thing, but look, I don't like the term conspiracy theorist. I'll be honest with you, I really don't. We have so many things. If we just go back to, and I don't want to stay on Charlie Kirk for a minute if we can, but I want to go back just to Trump's acceptance speech. If we go back to everything that he said that has not happened, that he promised was going to happen, this is what drives this stuff. People go, what in the heck is going on? You said this, and this. And it forces people at that juncture, it forces people to start filling in their own narratives. You start answering your own questions. We're all limited to the level of understanding of what we have, or the level of education that we have. And while we can improve ourselves, and we could be more learned, and we could read more, you only have whatever capability you have to comprehend something. And when you have billions of people on the planet with various walks of life, various education levels, various circumstances, I mean, if nothing else, there's 8.2 billion truths happening right now on the planet. Because if 8.2 billion people are alive and 8.2 billion people are breathing, then there's a truth that 8.2 billion truths are happening. And then you have billions of other truths that are happening simultaneously. I mean, trillions of truths happen every single day that don't have anything to do with each other, and some things are overlaps. When I look through that lens, if you have nothing but possibilities sitting out in front of you, then what in the world do you draw a conclusion on? You draw it to your level of understanding. You draw it to your level of what you think, based on your life experience, things that you see, how you view the world, what you believe in. All of this stuff comes into play. The reason I've watched John Bray's podcast 3 times now. I have yet to be able to not only debunk, I've yet to be able to push back on anything that he has said in any way, shape, or form. Because you're looking at it, physically looking at it. It's not him going, hey, here's what I think. You're like, he's showing the T-shirt in the movement, like the blowback of the sleeve, the thing on the collar, his hair. Like that's energy. That's pure energy coming out of that shirt. A gunshot is energy, and it delivers. And yeah, bullets can do things, but to have so many moving parts from so many different angles, there's no way, in my opinion, to fake that. Now, I said a second ago, I don't think Tyler Robinson, I think he's involved, obviously. I think he has something to do with something. I don't know the why, the what, the where. There's clearly a supersonic round that is fired, and it was clearly fired in that direction because it's caught on camera. John Bray says he thinks it was within about a half meter. And he says, I don't think it was by design I don't think it was somebody trying to make a shot and missed. I think they shot it exactly where they needed to have that sound come through because it's captured on the cameras. Like he's been able to isolate it. He says, so there's no doubt that a bullet was right there. The question is why did they just not shoot him? I mean, if you're just wanting to execute somebody, and then he gives a pretty strong plausible to that as well as to why this thing is going to probably never be solved. And that this guy will go down for the murder more than likely, but we will never get the truth, kind of like JFK. I've yet to be able to debunk anything that this particular man has said. And it's the way he presents it, it's his background, it's his studies, and it's the video and it's the audio. If he didn't have source material, I'd be like, well, dude, you just sound like me. I'm just theorizing on something.
Yeah.
But I'm confident of one thing. He didn't go to that roof, disassemble it, and then reassemble it. There's nothing in any of that video that makes me in any way, shape, or form believe that. There's no part of him that is carrying anything. And he certainly didn't carry it assembled up there. There's enough video to debunk that in a second. So I have other thought processes on it. I'm just not going to say it yet. I've got it written down.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of theories out there. And hopefully, somehow, some way, the truth sees the light of day. But let's not forget the brutal nature, regardless of how it happened, the brutality, the horrific nature in which he was taken from this world, this earth. And this judge watches the video. I had this pulled up on the scroll of the judge watching a video, I think, of the new angle. And you can actually see the judge while he's watching this video, just the terror on his face. You can see him flinch right there. Which, I mean, it just shows you. I mean, even almost a year later, to have to watch that video again, it sticks with you. It was not, and it is not something that is easily forgotten. It will never be forgotten.
You know, the other thing from the director of security that really resonated with me on the Sean Ryan show? As he said, where's the autopsy? I want to see the autopsy. That, I think out of the entire interview, was the most compelling line to me. Because he's not going, if he was in on it, you wouldn't be asking for an autopsy. That'd be the last thing you'd be asking for. He is like, man, I want it. I want to understand this. I mean, he was in tears during that moment. He's like, put it out. What are we doing?
Yeah.
That tells me he was telling the truth. I don't think he knew.
Huh.
I don't think he knew at all. I think he did everything. I think his single greatest failure was not having PD in place and having Overwatch and drones, without a doubt. Those three combinations, that should have never happened. We talked about this before. There could be policy. You can't put somebody on a roof, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if it was my op, I wouldn't even ask for permission. Because if I put somebody up on the roof, and I couldn't, if I didn't have cops there, and I'd called the PD or the sheriff's office or whatever it was, and I'm expecting them to show, and they said they were going to show, and they weren't there, you know the quickest way to get them there? Put somebody up on a roof. Yeah. They'll come. I mean, not come in the way that you think they're going to come, but they're going to show up. You're going to get the guys you're looking for. I just never liked that narrative, but I don't think he lied. I just think he was incompetent on that piece of it. I think that he probably has run a lot of ops. He's used to what Charlie wants to do. They're going to go forth. All this stuff is happening. But at the end of the day, it's still his responsibility to look at Charlie and go, we don't have Overwatch, man. We don't have partnership with law enforcement right now. We're going to delay this 15 minutes. The crowd will wait. They're not going anywhere. And he didn't. That was his failure. That, without a doubt, that was an epic failure. Now, could he have a couple guys on the team potentially involved? There's theories behind that, but I don't think he personally knew. I don't.
Well, considering all narratives here, there's a video of Tyler Robinson laughing back in December, and supposedly there's a report that the suspect, Tyler Robinson, was seen laughing in the court today, just feet away from Charlie Kirk. This was according to the Daily Mail. The outlet reports that Robinson was seen laughing at one point with his attorney, Kathy Nestor. Charlie's parents and Erica reportedly left the courtroom today when Utah Valley University police officer Chris Bagley started testifying about the moment that Charlie was shot. And I wanted to actually pull that clip because apparently there was something put out there about claims. This post at least says not even 20 minutes after Candace's cult following flooded X screaming Erica isn't sitting with Charlie's parents, Charlie's dad stands up, walks out the courtroom, and right behind them is Charlie's mom and Erica. And that video is here showing exactly that. Charlie's dad getting up, walking out. His mom and Erica. It's just interesting. All the infighting and all of the finger pointing and all of the... I think that questions are good. Questions are fine. I think accusations go beyond asking a question.
Agreed.
And I think we have to be careful with accusations that are not rooted in enough proof of truth.
Yeah.
Now, is there enough cause for concern around some of the situations and some of the potential untruths that have been told? Yes, there's cause for concern. But I still think that there's wisdom in being slow to make an accusation until there's enough to stand on, saying there was involvement or there's been a falling out of the family because of involvement, things like that. It's like, this is obviously going to be a grueling process for Charlie's parents. No matter what you say, there's no chance. I do not believe that there is a planet in which Charlie's parents would be in on something.
Right.
Charlie's parents loved Charlie.
Sure.
And Charlie's parents are sitting through all this, and they want answers more than anybody else wants answers. And I think that the press and the accusations and really the pretty much harassment, that's got to be one of the hardest things in the world to be able to deal with and cope with as the parents of a young man who had his life publicly in front of everybody taken away so brutally. This has got to be one of the hardest things ever for a parent to navigate.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, imagine if it was you.
Yeah.
Your bride, your kid, right? I mean, we've talked about this. We've talked about what level you and I would go to if somebody was harming or hurting or threatening, much less taking the life. Human emotion takes over. I've had little to no opinion on Charlie Kirk at all. I mean, we had the memorial here. You know, I put a post out. I had like 16 different screenshots that I took on my phone from right here, sitting where we're at, looking at the TV that was up on the monitor. And that post was, I said, I see every emotion a human being or something along that line could have. I mean, just about everything was visible in her face. You could see it. I mean, it's gut-wrenching, heartbreaking. And I know there's theories all over the place that think she's involved, and Candace has been all over her from minute one, and there's many things that I think have been said that are just awful, vile. But if I learned anything in my law enforcement career, besides turn over every stone and ask every question, don't ever assume that there's not a something that is sitting out there. As much as you may not want to think it, as much as you may not want to feel it, don't assume that. The case that I would go to, and I want to be very clear, I'm not speaking in any way, shape, or form. I will stand on it. I don't even know the parents. In fact, that's the first video I've even seen of the parents, to be honest. I've seen a handful of videos from Erica. The only thing I didn't care about that Erica did, and this was just more of, it was just odd to me that within a few days, a week, whatever it was, after he was shot, she was doing a Zoom call that was captured and released where she was talking about ticket sales and merch sales and different things. And that was just weird. I mean, just the timing of it and that. But does that prove anything? No. It just didn't feel, I don't know. It felt icky. But outside of that one video, I haven't said anything about Erica. I don't know anything about Erica. I know she lost her husband. I know she has her kids.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. Nor would I even speculate at this point in time. There's people that have gone way down that trail in previous life and her past history. Well, everybody's got something. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a life. I mean, I dated a handful of people before I married my wife. You know, if somebody captured a picture of me standing in the background at a party or something, and oh, look at how crazy he was back in the day. And that happened to be the only party I'd ever been to in my life, even though I wasn't drinking, but I was standing behind 25 people that were sloshed. You can form an opinion on that in 3 seconds. Doesn't make anything true. So I just refuse to go there, to your point. I think you have to be careful when you start doing stuff like that. I'm just not a fan in any way, shape, or form that Tyler Robinson killed him.
I agree with that.
I really struggle with that. Like, that part makes no sense. Is he involved? Seems clearly to be involved.
I agree with that. I would take it a little bit of a step further than that and say, I don't think that he killed him the way that they have said that he killed him. If he did kill him, I think that's still yet to be walked out and determined. But the way that they have described it, I don't think so. I don't think that 30-06 was even the gun that was used. If it was the gun that was used, and if that was a bullet that went into Charlie's neck, I think that it wasn't a 30-06. It would have been something smaller, maybe a 30 caliber,
300 blackout or something.
Yeah, something smaller. But regardless, there's a lot that doesn't add up. And then really the last piece on even just speaking about Erica and the dynamics is, there's a lot that wouldn't necessarily be status quo or normal. But I don't know really, what normal would be in a situation like this. I don't know what kind of conversations they would have on a regular basis about what to do if Charlie died, because clearly it was on his mind. Clearly he had conversations about it. I don't know what kind of directive he would have left her with, if anything, and I don't know. I know there's a lot of causes for concern where there's been questions.
Sure.
And I don't think questions are bad. I think that making conclusions without concrete proof and evidence is a scary place to be.
Yeah.
I think that innocent until proven guilty still should have a lot of weight.
I agree, and I'm going to repeat the thing I said earlier. Because you asked, if you rule out all the possibilities, all you're left with are the truths, the facts. But if you throw enough possibilities out there with nothing to substantiate them, all you're doing, in my personal opinion, is either this thing is lock solid. And I know I said it before. I know I said it when you were sitting in that chair. Either they have something that we've not seen that conclusively, within 3 seconds, they knew right away. Either they have that, or they've just thrown out a narrative immediately with the arrest and the letter and the Dairy Queen thing and all that stuff. That all that did was open up Pandora's jug for everybody to get online. And here's the thing. Everybody can get online. Anybody and their brother can sit down and go, here's what I think. So you've left millions of people sitting out here going, well, wait a second. We saw him die. There's no doubt of that. And even if the exploding mic theory is, let's call it spot on. Well, so who did it? Somebody had to do it, right? Like, we don't have that answer. Could that have been Tyler Robinson? Could he have been doing some research? I don't know. James Holmes did. James Holmes researched all sorts of stuff. Booby-trapped his apartment, went in and shot up a movie theater. There was a gazillion warning signs on that guy. But when you looked at his brain pan and what he researched, his entire history was stuff that he had dug into how to do this. Klebold and Harris did it. So I don't ever look at something and assume that Tyler Robinson can't be guilty of killing Charlie. I just don't think to your point, I don't think he did it with a 30-06 from the top of a rooftop. I just think ballistically that's been disproven over and over and over by people that shoot guns. And like, this is no. Was there a supersonic round? Yeah. Did John Bray remove all the white noise sound and zero in on frequencies that were there? Yeah. Can he play them? Yeah. So now we're starting to get at least to truths that there were sounds, and here's the proximity of where they're at, and here's the cameras they were picked up on. That starts answering questions. Still leaves theories out there, but it starts answering questions. But when the government comes out and says, here's what we got our man, and here's the story, and you do that in a 2 or 3 day window, but you don't release an autopsy when you got the director of security asking for the autopsy in the entire world, because that would answer, I know I've said that on our podcast 2 or 3 times, that would answer 90% of the questions right out of the gate. May not give us the doer, the shooter, the killer, but it would answer a lot of questions. And it would quell a lot of this rhetoric that we see going around. Now, to your point, it's going to get messy and it's going to get drug out. And there's going to be a lot that's going to come to the surface. The question is whether or not, through all the possibilities that have been thrown around, will the truth come? That to me is kind of the ultimate question.
Agreed. I think the most fitting way to start walking this to a close is to close out with just getting away from all the conversations and questions and just remembering Charlie and letting him speak a little bit. I just searched Charlie on X, and I'm just going to play a video here.
Now you say, where should your loyalty lie? Where I disagree with some pastors is where they say we must defend everything that the Israeli government does. You should not defend everything that the Israeli government does, period. You are loyal to one thing only. You are loyal to Jesus Christ. And that is it. That is your standard.
That's a powerful video in and of itself.
Absolutely, especially with the conversations happening today.
Yeah, that's very, very relevant. That could be dude, we could probably do 2 podcasts on that.
Yeah, 100%. And then this is the other one that we could do a podcast on in and of itself, and I've got so much stuff that's saved on this. We don't have time today, but...
Compatible with Western values. Macro. Of course it's not. There are 3 major reasons why. Islam does not believe in freedom of speech. Islam does not believe in freedom of religion, and Islam does not believe in separation of mosque and state. Those 3 things are antithetical to the West. In a Muslim-majority country, most Muslim-majority countries, you cannot criticize the Prophet Muhammad. In most Muslim-majority countries, you do not have the same...
Whenever you hear him talk, the way that he speaks, the way that he's so intellectual, but also so passionate about what he's speaking about, but then the way that he's able to bring it full circle into faith is just inspirational.
It is, yeah.
And I mean, speaking against some of the biggest issues that we are still currently facing today, bigger than they even were whenever he was here a year ago, whenever Charlie was still with us a year ago, bigger now than they were then.
Yep.
Issues with Islam totally taking over everywhere.
Yep.
Issues with the conversation of Israel and not support of, how much support, things like that. His videos and his voice on it, I think, is still so relevant. Yeah. More so now than it ever has been.
I would agree with that. Truth and love.
Be a true born-again Christian and vote Democrat. They are celebratory of 1 million abortions a year. They believe that gender is infinite. Some people say, but Charlie, what do the Democrats want? They want full and complete destruction of the United States of America. They do not want a better country. They do not want you to live in a better tomorrow. They want to overwhelm the system and radically transform it. As Barack Obama said, is one of the last things he said before he got elected president. We are only a few days away from fundamentally transforming this country. Let me ask you a question. Do you fundamentally transform that which you love? You conserve that which you love.
Yeah.
That is why we call ourselves conservatives.
Yeah.
Because we have gratitude and love for this country that we did not build, but we inherited thanks to the grace and the glory of God.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. I'm going to go back. I'm going to find it. So I made, just so you know, I may have to get off my computer. I made a truck video on that very thing the morning after Obama's speech, and I said, "Somebody please explain to me what fundamentally changing our country means." Like that I out of everything he said, that was the only thing I honed in on.
Well, look, this is what Donald Trump is. This is a great example. Donald Trump apparently had shared this video of a kindergarten, and it has, and it's a school in Minnesota, and it's fully Islamic. I mean, listen, come to this country legally, live the American dream. That's fine, but that's coming in support of conserving America, like Charlie just said. It's not coming with the desire to change and fundamentally take over. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We're seeing that happen at every level. In every state, there is a push for such radical change, radicalism, whether it's come to Islam or just liberal ideology. I mean, look at this right here. After it was revealed that 50 mosques were open in Dallas-Fort Worth in the last 24 months, a woman discovered that the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott's largest donor, is a Pakistani Muslim who was given more than $14 million, including $2 million just this year. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. There is a real concern right now, exactly what Charlie was speaking against, and speaking against so intelligently. It's here. It's not only at our doorstep, it's taking over our schools, it's taking over government offices, and there's a lot of concern that it's already potentially too far gone.
I agree. The war is coming. There's no doubt in my mind. There is let's see if we can attach this link on the very video that you just showed. So, John Lovell, do you watch him at all? The Warrior Society.
Mm-hmm.
So he is on the 3 of 7 project. So Navy SEAL guy's got his own podcast. He's a ginger, big beard. You can't miss it. There is a video. You got to watch John with this guy. It's about 45 minutes long. Bar none, the best video I've seen yet as to what's coming to America, how we've gotten to where we're at, and who's behind it. Wow. And it's not. I mean, these are guys that have been in the box, guys that have been behind the scenes, guys that are working with this stuff firsthand, not dudes sitting around speculating. It is exceptional. And I watched it twice in the last 2 days. I was up at 1 a.m. last night watching it again. People really need to start waking up and paying attention to this stuff. So the 3 of 7 project, John Lovell on there, can't miss. Exceptional.
Yeah. Well, only hope that we have is Jesus Christ.
Amen.
That's it. That's where the focus should be, and that's where the focus should stay. One nation under God. That's where we've got to continue to fight to get back to. Unfortunately, that conserving of that has drifted a long ways. I don't know if conserving of that exists anymore.
Yeah.
I think that we have to go to a place, we have to get to a place where we're going back to that, because we've drifted so far from that. I don't know that there's much left to conserve as far as one nation under God.
Right.
There's some nations, I mean, there's some states in this nation that are doing better than others, but even that, I mean, we just read Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, one of the biggest donors, is a Pakistani Muslim. I mean, so much infighting, so much distraction going on, wars with the conversation on Israel, the conspiracy theories on Charlie Kirk's assassination, so much distraction. And I think that that's making people be blinded to understand that the government is being taken over.
Right.
Our infrastructure is being taken over. Schools are being taken over. And it's ideology that does not agree with our ideology. And people, I think, are going to have a rude awakening whenever it's gone too far. I think that there's already examples of that in the country right now.
So I want to ask you a question, and I absolutely have to go after this. So do you believe in the First Amendment and freedom of religion?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe if that religion is Sharia law and they're calling for death to America and they're building a mosque, that is protected by the First Amendment?
That's the thing. That's contradicting that amendment we just said I agree with. Their beliefs don't agree with that. Their beliefs don't allow for the freedom of religion. It's their religion, and it's death to America and death to all other religions.
So my question is do you believe? So answering that, do you believe we should be bulldozing those mosques?
I do think that any religion that will harm or otherwise call for the destruction of our country openly, yeah, that's not a religion that should be here.
Here's why I say it. Because right now, we're over in Iran blowing stuff up because of nukes, whatever else that is connected to it. And it has been, I mean, go back and listen to it. Trump, Rubio, all of them, Ted Cruz, listen to what they say. The thing they're saying that is justifying us going overseas to go do that, we're not doing here in our own country. Why are we not leveling these places? Hey, look, you're Muslim, you're a religion, you're Buddhist, you're religion, Mormon, everybody. This is a melting pot. But there's nobody that I know of in the Mormon community saying death to America. Let's burn down America. They're openly chanting it in New York from mosques. Video after video after video after video. Texas, video after video.
Yeah.
Those places should be turned into a parking lot. In my opinion, that's not freedom of religion.
No.
That is a war.
Yeah, that's a terrorist threat.
So we're spending.
That's what it should be considered.
We're spending billions upon billions of dollars to float boats overseas and fly planes over there to eradicate an existential threat of nuclear war because people want to genocide us. I get it, but why are we floating boats over there when all I got to do is walk around the corner over here and listen to it?
Yeah.
Why are we not going in and enforcing that? That's a whole podcast in and of itself too.
I agree. And I have to say, because I have to give a disclaimer and a mention, I have friends that are Muslims.
So do I.
I have friends that are peacefully practicing. I'm calling out this radical.
I'm talking Sharia law.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I'm overly stating that online. I think that there's room for healthy discussions amongst people that have peaceful intentions. But whenever you have decided that you want to indoctrinate a country and you want to come over and try to take over, conquer a country with Sharia law, that is getting to the point where there's been an argument for so long, separation between church and state, which disagree or agree with it. You're seeing the complete unfolding of that. The backwards walking that back in the direction of Sharia law, where there's government officials that are more involved than ever in this radical Muslim ideology that are being appointed all over the country. That is a scary, scary thing.
And it's here.
It's
here. It's not coming. It's active. I want to get my buddy Farshid on. I'll reach out to him, see if he'd be willing to do it. He escaped Iran. His brother was stoned to death in front of him.
Wow.
He is now he's my age, maybe a couple years younger. He is, he's got a story, dude. He's got a story. And he is what I would call kind of the quintessential American dream. You come over here, you come in legally, you figure it out. He's a smart business guy. He's made a lot of money. He employs a lot of people. He makes America better. He's a huge 2A guy. A guy who owns more ARs than anybody I ever met in my life. I mean, he's a fun guy. He's got amazing kids. I coached all of them from this tall up in hockey all the way into college. He would melt in that chair telling you the story about his family and what they did to people in Iran and why he moved to America.
Wow.
The risk that he took to get here, how the escape route was to get out of the country. These people are ruthless, and that's what's here right now. So when I have a conversation with them, believe me, if anybody's sickened over what's going on right now, it would be Farshid.
Okay.
He does not want to see what's coming because he escaped it to get here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beyond powerful. And I love these. These people are, I mean, these are my family. Yeah. So this isn't a Muslim thing. I'm talking Sharia law practicing, we want to destroy America people.
Yeah.
If that is being taught by the imam of that mosque should be bulldozed to the ground. I don't need to float a boat over to Iran. I need to drive down the street and enforce law.
Agreed.
Period.
Yeah. Man, I think that we've covered some heavy-hitting topics, and this is not an easy conversation. the next episode. I mean, we'll see. That'd be awesome if your friend wants to come on. That'd be a great conversation. I'd love to hear that. I think that would be really important for a lot of people to hear as well. But trying to move this into a positive note, closing us out here. You're the one closing us out today. So you'll end us out in just a minute, but I will just close out my portion and just say turbulent times we're living in.
Yeah.
I mean, we just came through a relatively lighthearted weekend, had some celebration, had a good time, and that was great. A little bit of a reprieve, checking out of a lot of what's wrong in the world, but then you check back in on a Monday, and you get back into the trenches, so to speak. Anyone and everyone that is out there, listen, it is absolutely overwhelming, all of the conversations that are happening in this world.
Yeah.
And with how overwhelming all of those conversations are, there should be one conversation that's able to root you and get you to where you're on a solid foundation, unshakable.
Right.
And that is the conversation that is the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Seek it out, walk it out today. Open up the good book, read it, be encouraged, get your mind set on that over all the other conversations in this world, because everything else going on in this world is not even secondary. It's far behind the list of God's plans, God's intentions, his will for our lives, his will that none should perish, but all should come to everlasting life. That is his will. And I pray that people will find that and align their wills with his will, because we're living in a world right now where more than ever, there's a need for not just a surface level faith, but a deep enough faith that keeps you grounded even through all these chaotic conversations that we're going through.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Well said.
I'll give it to you to close us out.
All right. Father God, thank you for a good day, good discussion. I look forward to deep dives into this. I would ask that you would help us measure our hearts, not be inflammatory or accusatory, but seek truth through truth and love, seek facts, but also stand in the face of evil to call this stuff out. Grateful for the opportunity that we have in this country right now to be able to sit down and have the freedoms to be able to talk about these things, and I want to be able to protect those. I would ask for calm seas and fair winds for the USS Tripoli as they return to America off of their first op. The last 6 months has been a journey for many young men and women standing guard for this country. I ask that you would keep them safe and get them back to their loved ones. Just be with them through their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, and everything that they've gone through as they've been standing on the front line. It is in your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Until next time.
Till next time.